Hello, beautiful teachers, and welcome to today's webinar. If we haven't met before, my name is Nicola Canton. I'm the director behind Vibrant Music Teaching. I created the site almost 6 years ago now, and today I'm going to give you a tour of the site. Going to go through some of our key things that we believe in so that you can see whether it aligns with your teaching philosophies, whether you would make good use of the materials we have in the site, and just give you a general sense of what we're all about. So let's dive in. So if you have any questions throughout today's webinar, please do not hesitate to add them. I'm happy to answer any questions live or for those watching on the replay at any stage later on. Just shoot through a question. Nothing's too big or too small or too silly, so just let us know if anything is unclear. The first thing I want to do today is go through our core values. 4 things that really I believe and most of the teachers at Vibrant Music Teaching believe, and the things we try to uphold in our membership site. So the first one is that fun is not a 4-letter word. Second is that improvisation and arranging have a place in classical lessons. The third is that when you take your business seriously, your teaching has space to thrive. And the fourth is that one step at a time is the perfect pace for us, and we are lifelong learners. So let's go through each of those. First of all, fun is not a 4-letter word. I know many of us kind of balk at the idea of a parent saying that they just want their child to learn music, to have fun in lessons. But fun doesn't have to mean that real work does not get done. Being a fun teacher does not mean that you don't take teaching seriously. In fact, children learn through play. So if you are prioritizing fun, that means you're speaking their language. That means you're setting up your studio in a way that makes sense to the children that you teach. And let's face it, the adults too. Game-based learning lets students puzzle things out, which makes learning stickier. We're big on games at Vibrant Music Teaching. We have a huge games library, which I'm going to show you later in the presentation. And all of our games let students reinforce some things or figure things out for themselves. We have a lot of games that are really based on a discovery model. So the student is not being told something by the teacher. They are puzzling it out for themselves. And if they do that, it means they remember it so much better. Now, I don't want to discount the fact that it's also more fun for you. And that's something I really strongly believe in. When you're engaged in your teaching, when you're having fun, when you get to laugh in your lessons, you are a better teacher. We've all had those days in our teaching when we feel like we're kind of dragging our heels through it. And when we're in that mode, are we a great teacher? No, we can do our best to disguise how we're feeling, to put on a brave face, but really we're a better teacher when we are fully engaged in the lesson and enjoying what we're doing. Our second maxim that we're going through today is that improvisation and arranging have a place in your lessons. I've said classical lessons here because a lot of people are coming to us from a classical background, but if you're coming to us from any kind of music background, then they have a place in your lessons because they are core aspects of music. And too many of us have gone through lessons as children growing up without any improv or arranging or composing in our lessons. But the classical musicians that we play all the time, they didn't. Beethoven was improvising. Mozart was improvising. So why should they be left out of our lessons?
I came across VMT.
Now, you do not need to be a jazz pianist to improvise. You don't need to have some specialist knowledge. Sure, if you do, yeah, that's great. But what I'm really talking about here is introducing improvisation and arranging at a basic level so that your students have that door open to them. so that they know about these things. They have the basics of them. They're not afraid of them. And you don't have to be an expert in improvisation to be able to put that forward to them. You also don't need to be a pop pianist or enjoy popular music to be able to arrange and play from lead sheets or chord charts. Our students should have these skills because it's going to give them access to so much more music that they actually connect with and want to learn. And I truly believe that our students deserve to have all doors open to them. I call myself proudly a Jack or a Jill of all trades, and that's what I want to get across to my students. I'm not a specialist in interpreting music from the Baroque period. I know enough about all the different things I teach, some more than others, right? Because based on my background and based on your background too, you'll have some areas that you're better at than others. But you should be opening all those doors of music to your student because you don't know which ones are going to be the right doors for them to keep them playing for the rest of their life. Our third foundation for today is that your business should be taken seriously. So, yeah, it's fun to look at the games and the improvisation, and maybe you thought that was all we do, but we actually have a lot of business courses as well. And that's because if you leave your business issues on the back burner, they will lead to small fires. And those small fires are what distract you from teaching. They're what lead to you burning out and not be able to teach your students at all anymore because you're so distracted by all these things that are getting in the way. So if you take your business seriously, it's going to help your teaching as well. You deserve to be paid fairly for your time. And you deserve to get breaks, and you deserve to take vacations. Those things should be non-negotiable. You're a human. You have to look after yourself. You do this because you love it, sure. But that doesn't mean you should be doing it for free. And actually, you're doing your students a disservice if you're not getting paid properly so that you can look after yourself, if you're not taking breaks to recharge and taking vacations to disconnect from your business so that you can be a better teacher when you come back. And when you take your business seriously, your families will too. A lot of us are afraid to set those hard boundaries with our families because we feel like it's going to make them think we don't care. But I've never had a family react that way. If you take it seriously, if you have clear boundaries, clear policies, your families will take it seriously too. And they will see that you are in business rather than just you have a hobby. Now, making business changes isn't easy, but it is worth it. And that's why we have courses to help you make those changes so that your business can keep going for the long haul. Our final foundational element for today is that I believe in you just doing one thing at a time. I commonly shorten this to J-DOT, J-D-O-T. Just do one thing. One small, tiny little change at a time is enough to move you forward if you're making the right change in the right direction. Jumping on every single new idea, I know, feels exciting. It feels fun. But it's unsustainable. It's not something you can keep doing forever. You will burn out. You'll get disillusioned. You'll be trying so many new ideas that you won't know which ones work. Or you'll feel like you have to have a single new thing in every single lesson so that your students don't get bored. And that's just not the case. We are playing a bigger game as teachers. There is no need to rush things. If you are in this to play the bigger game, if you want to see your students still playing 20 years from now, then there couldn't possibly be a rush, could there? It's not about the next shiny thing or this week's fad. It's about finding new ideas that keep you inspired, keep you moving forward in a sustainable way. And there is no such thing as the one best way to teach music anyway, or the one best way to cover rhythm or oral work or anything else. There are many good ways. I don't believe I have the correct answer on anything. And in fact, for many things inside Vibrant Music Teaching, you'll find many answers. That's because there are many answers. And anyone who tries to sell you the idea that they have found the secret to teaching music is, you have to question how that could possibly be the case when there are so many different types of humans, little and big humans, out there. So let me give you an overview of some of our courses. Now, this is roughly our current course lineup, so I'm not going to go through every course. That would be overwhelming. And remember, we believe in doing just one thing, so the fact that there are loads of courses inside Vibrant Music Teaching will not be overwhelming, because I train you when you join to do one thing at a time, to take one step in the right direction, and how to find the right thing for you at that moment. However, the right thing for you at this moment and the teacher next to you at this moment is going to be something different, which is why we have lots of different materials. And it's also going to keep you involved, coming back to Vibrant Music Teaching again and again over the years that you're a member. So I'm just going to go through a few of these, but this gives you the idea of the breadth of them, and we'll see them in the course library later when we do our tour. The first one I'm going to highlight is Mini Musicians 1. This was born out of a frustration I had with some of the preschool piano and preschool music programs out there, with really hefty licensing fees that you had to keep up with year after year. And I wanted something that was an introduction to piano, required no practice at home, taught general music skills, was based around just one instrument, one piano in the room, still taught some beginner piano elements to prepare students for piano maybe the following year or the year after that. So that's where Mini Musicians came from. It's a 40-week curriculum. There are lesson plans, full lesson plans for each one of those 40 weeks, and there are different optional components that you can put in to make the class longer or shorter to suit you, or to leave out elements that you don't want to include in your class. So there's Mini Musicians 1, and that leads into Mini Musicians 2 if you want to offer a 2-year pre-piano program in your studio. The next one I want to bring up is the Piano Launchpad. This is relatively new as I record this webinar, and this one is like Mini Musicians in a way, but for older students. You need one piano for every 2 students since they play duets the entire time, so they're always playing together. It's all based around ensemble playing as a class, doing little spot practices solo, but everyone listening and everyone participating in the same thing at the same time. Like Mini Musicians, it's based around the idea of no practice for the first year. That doesn't mean students never practice at home. Some of them do, some of them don't, but it's not in a structured, required kind of way. They graduate to that after the first year. So again, this is a full year of lessons that you can use with really any size group, but I'd recommend, say, 4 to 8 students at a time, bigger if you want, but you need 2 students per piano, so 1 piano per every 2 students. Now, this is a few of our courses put together just to show you how these work. These are filling the gap of everything that is not in the method book, if you still want a plan for that and want it all to be laid out for you rather than coming up with materials as you go throughout the weeks of the year. So these are not full plans in the sense of Piano Launchpad and Mini Musicians because they don't include the reading component. You're expected to use a method book plus one of these, and that will give you a well-rounded curriculum for your student. So we have Tiny Finger Takeoff, which is for those younger beginners. They start there. And then we have Piano Power Booster 1, 2, and 3. So an older student can start in Piano Power Booster 1 and progress to 2 and 3, and a younger student can progress to Piano Power Booster 1 after they've done Tiny Finger Takeoff, so that they're getting an extra reinforcing year of that material that moves at a faster pace than they had in Tiny Finger Takeoff. We also have a course called Foundations of Piano Teaching, and I took giving it that title very seriously, so it is a big course. There's a lot in it, but it's designed for any new teacher who wants to really dive into all of the pedagogical aspects they need to consider, and also any teacher who's feeling uncertain or feeling like they need a refresher to make sure they have all their different areas covered. I may handle things in a slightly different way to how you do right now, and it can give you some thinking points in different directions. One of our business courses is called Modern Music Teaching Studio Marketing. This takes a funnel-based approach in a way you have never seen applied to the music teaching industry. It's all about nurturing your current students as well as attracting new ones, and it can really revolutionize how you market your studio, how you even think about your marketing, and how well your business is sustained year after year. So again, here's the overview of all the courses. A lot of these are substantial courses. Some of are smaller lesson plans for, say, 4 to 10 weeks to focus on specific elements, but I just wanted to give you highlight those few that may be of particular interest. Next, we'll take a little look at our games library. This is where it all started at Vibrant Music Teaching. And this isn't actually all of them because I couldn't fit them all on one slide with an even number of rows. But this is a good chunk of the games we have. We have about 400 games right now, but they are all organized. So we have a library with all of our printables in it. Printables and downloadables go in the same place. And you get to sort it by any of these different elements. So the level it covers, the concept it covers. We do the levels based on exams as well. We've got the type of game, so whether you want a board game, a card game, etc., the number of players you have, and even seasonal, so if you particularly want something to cover a specific holiday or season, something like that. Now we have other ways of helping you put the games into use in ways that are organized and suit different types of teachers. So one of those is the Vibrant Music Teaching Games Roadmaps. We have one complete one that covers all the games. So in a suggested order of teaching, if you were to do every single game in the library with a student, what would the order be? Now the intention there is not that you do every single game in the library with one student or even with any of your students. It's just to give you, okay, you can look, I did this game before, maybe I want to do a game close to that or just after that in the library, in the games roadmap, and I can easily click through and grab that game to get a quick answer for what's next for my student. So a few testimonials from our members before we take our tour. First one is from Rebecca. She said, I've inherited a bunch of new students at a school, and I'm finding the landmark note games and keyboard layout games absolutely essential for these students. It's providing me with a fun way to go over these concepts that they kind of think they know, but don't. Next we have Shelley, who's over in Canada. She said, everything under the sun you could possibly think of is there. And Dana, who's over in Oregon, said, the games and activities are organized so well. Perfect for finding exactly what you need, which is exactly what we aim to do. We want to make it easy for you to find what you need in the minimal amount of time. Begum said, I got to see teaching in a more relaxed manner since I could always find the answers here. And this is one of my favorite quotes because it just breathes a sigh of relief. If you could see teaching in a more relaxed manner because you know you can find the answers to your questions as they come up, wouldn't that change how much you stress about teaching outside of your teaching hours? And Dana in Washington said, it's a one-stop shop of creative learning games. And since it's so well organized, it takes little brain power and time, yay, to search for and find what you need. And finally, Jeanette in Maryland said, this is literally all you need to take your teaching game to the next level. So if you have questions, continue to write those in. I'm going to switch over and take a look through the site now to show you exactly what it looks like on the inside. So this is the member dashboard. This is where you arrive once you log in as a member. You'll see there's quick links up the top here to all the main areas that members want to go to. Then we have our events calendar to show you what's coming up that's live. And then we have the learning lineup and tracker. This is a way of creating a unique kind of to-do list that helps you focus on one thing at a time. Now, when you're a new member, you won't start one of these right away because you'll probably have a first step to take. But this is our more sustainable, way for you to keep learning, keep moving forward in a way that is not overwhelming over time. Next, we have a link to the Student Sleuth, which we're going to look at in a minute. And the lesson list, we're also going to take a look at, a highlight of some of our newest resources, and then just a reminder to take our newbie course if you haven't already. Next, let's hop over to the library. So this is the library that has all the printables and downloadables, whether they're digital games or physical games that you print out and use, and some other things as well, like our magazines, books of pieces, things like that. So everything is in here, and as I said, you can sort it all by level and concept, and you can combine various things that you want to look at. Let's say you want a board game. So everything is sortable there, and you can just reset it to go back, and when you reset it, it's automatically the latest games are at the top in case you want to see what's new. So we have a huge variety of games in here, too much to go through, as I said, but I do want to highlight that we have things for many different levels, because sometimes people either think we only have beginner stuff or they think the opposite, depending on what they've seen from us. So we have stuff that's for like brand new preschool students, covering piano keys and finger numbers and stuff like that, all the way through to quite advanced things, late intermediate, early advanced type of theory concepts, practice strategies. You see here scales. These are major formula pattern scales. So loads of different things to cover there. Now, if that isn't the way you want to research games at any time, if you feel like, no, I don't know exactly what I want for this student, I'm not looking for a specific concept at a certain level, well, then we have things like the roadmaps. So the main roadmap, as I said, covers everything in the library, but we also have ones that are aligned to My Own Thinking Theory workbooks, to Piano Safari, so all laid out with a game based on the different pages of the books, Piano Pronto, and Piano Adventures. So some of the most common piano methods out there. And then we have our lists. So you can also create your own lists of things. And if you want to make them public, that means other members can access them too. So you'll see different things that members have made here. These are all created by members to show that they've made public, and then you can make a copy of these. These are things you'll dive into as you become a member for a bit longer, once you are exploring quite a lot of resources. But it's good to know that the options are there to keep things organized, keep you moving forward for the long term. Next area I want to show you is our Student Sleuth. So I'm just going to put in test as the student name here and pretend they're age 7 and they've been learning for 1 year. And what this is a quiz that will give you an idea of whether your student is where basically I would expect them to be with each of these areas of rhythm, oral work, practice, etc. Now, it doesn't mean you can't disagree with me, but it does give you a good way to check in, especially if you're feeling a bit of imposter syndrome, a bit of uncertainty, to see whether is my student up to where would be expected for the average student. It's not meant to judge your individual students, just to give you a sense of a teacher of how you're tracking. Next up is the course library. And in this library we have all our courses. Surprise, surprise. These are in order that they came out. So some of our newest ones are up at the top. And you can see we have a huge array of things here. So Office Unleashers is about admin work. Curriculum Checkpoints helps you have a checklist of concepts to cover with students. I'll just show you one of the courses on the inside. This is Piece Pointers for Piano Safari. So in this one, I go through every piece in Piano Safari Book 1 and talk about how I teach it, some of the common pitfalls I see with students, and how I instruct them to practice it. So every course has an introduction video like this, and then once you dive into the course, you can track your progress as you move through. You'll see all the lessons listed along the left here. In this case, they're pieces from Piano Safari. And then as you finish each lesson, you just mark it complete, so you can always pick up where you left off and take it at your own pace. Next, we have the training library, We do have the courses in here as well, but this is also mixed in with other videos that we have. So things like masterclass replays, we have shorter instructional videos from me, and we have some of my lessons so you can watch what my actual lessons look like. I don't sugarcoat these, I don't set them up. The student has not been pre-prepared for those lessons. It's just an actual lesson where I've taken a chunk of it I thought might be interesting to you for some reason. So lots of different things again, as always, completely sortable up the top so you can find exactly what you need. Final library I'll show you is the recommended repertoire. And this is a good place to pause and say, there's a lot of choice of all these different libraries and all these different features. That's so that you can find the one that is right for you right now. Not so that you can use all of it at once, because that would be too much and that's not sustainable. But the choices are there because different teachers need different things in any 1 month. So these books are all ones that are tried and tested in my studio. I don't put anything in here that I've not personally used with a student. There's about 130 to 140 books in here at the moment, and you can sort them by the level, exam level again in case you prefer that system, the genre, and the type, like if you want duet books or a method book or supplements, technique, rote. Now the final part of the site we'll look at, we're not going to go further than this, we're just going to look here, which is our forums. I'm not going to click into any of the topics because I don't want to, show the private conversations that our members are having, but it does give you a sense of what it looks like, and there are lots of different posts here from our members chatting to each other about questions they have, things they want people's opinions on. So if you have questions, please do continue to add them in to the comments or to the chat. I'm happy to answer them at any stage. And I'm going to finish up with a little video of some of our members giving their thoughts about the membership. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
I came across VMT, and boy did I find the resources and all the materials to help me become a better, more fun teacher.
It was the vibrant music teaching community that helped me figure out how to go online and start teaching. I continued to print out games, and now that I'm back live, use the games often.
I used to think I had all the tricks up my sleeve. I've been teaching for 30 years, but yet I still found huge value in joining Nicola's colourful keys and vibrant music.
My first thing that attracted me to become a member were the games.
I love my Vibrant Teaching membership. I initially started over 2 years ago with a trial and loved the game so much that I knew that I needed to continue.
It gave me the basis that I needed to start effectively teaching lead sheets and giving them the knowledge that I had learned but wasn't quite sure how my teacher had done it.
But then when I started using the roadmaps, that is such a time saver.
I used to think it was expensive to join, but every single cent that I have spent on it has been worth it. It has given me back so much more, and to my students, which is the most important thing.
Information from lots of different guests that Nicola invited, that again challenged me, gave me new ideas, sparked my creativity, and has really breathed new life into my teaching.
I highly recommend Nicola's resources, and I wish you good luck in your teaching.
So if I would say one thing, is to make sure you join VMT. Good luck. Thanks, Nicola.
I highly recommend joining Vibrant Music Teaching, and who wouldn't want to be a flamingo?